They say that 2023 is the worst year for movies in the last 20 years.
Strikes, box office bombs, and huge leadership vacuum. Hollywood says goodbye to the worst year in a generation. I mean, they're not wrong either.
No. I think it was a disappointment overall. The steady decline of Disney, in particular the MCU, it's gotten worse and worse.
We saw the death of superhero movies. It started with Quantumania. Oh man, fucking horrible. This is the only thing I can describe it. And then there's the Marvels. What a disappointment. I wasted 2 hours of my time. That was 2 hours of my life I couldn't get back.
Did you see the new Aquaman?
Aquaman is visually pleasing. It's like Avatar level graphics. The hair.
Oh, I'm sure it looks amazing.
But during the action scenes, I was sleeping.
I think Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was a big movie this year. That was a pretty good movie. We reviewed it. We both liked it, but I kind of forgot about it, to be honest with you.
But this is also a year of low budget goodness, and my top 5 this year are mostly low budget movies, actually. I'm happy about that because it proves that we don't need $200 million to be entertained.
Godzilla proved it. Sound of Freedom.
I am honestly tired of big bloated action sequences, and it should be story first then action, not the other way around.
Amen. A lot of the big movies that we were looking forward to did not pay off for us. There was a new Mission Impossible. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. Indiana Jones. We did have John Wick 4, which we both liked. Flower Moon. I think you liked that one more than me. It wasn't as good as I expected it. And Napoleon was kind of a disappointment.
I love the action scenes.
Yeah, I love the action. I love the battle scenes. And then Ferrari was another one that was like, we had high expectations, and it was like, that's what it felt like. We had a lot of these movies that we really were looking forward to that kind of just didn't really deliver like we thought they would. So in terms of the expectations, they were very high. It was one of the low years because I had a hard time coming up with the top 5.
So before we go to our top 5, let's have your honorable mention.
Maestro is my honorable mention of the year. It's not in my top 5. It's not a perfect movie. It has some flaws, but I love the directing. I love the editing. I loved the music. And in terms of just performances, Carey Mulligan, Bradley Cooper, some of the best of the year. It's nominated for a lot of awards.
Yeah, that movie just wasn't for everybody.
Right.
So my honorable mention would be Talk to Me. Now, this is not spoiler, but the premise is that there's this hand of some famous spiritual medium. The medium died and they cut off her hand and they preserve it in some kind of plaster. And when you hold that hand, you will meet a random dead spirit. Anything you think that could go wrong with this setup happens. It's very psychologically disturbing. It puts the characters in the most chilling situations, especially that last scene. It still haunts me until today. Like, what was that? Talk to Me had a budget of 4.5 million, and the box office is 92 million.
Wow, that's a pretty good return.
So let's start with your top 5.
Number 5, The Killer.
Oh, I saw that.
Michael Fassbender. I loved him in this movie. And you think it's going to be the typical hitman assassin type movie, and it's not that. It has some twists and some unexpected things. It's like, what would happen if you took, your typical spy, hitman, assassin movie, and he made mistakes and things didn't go as planned? It kind of throws some curveballs in there that are humorous and creative, and that's what I loved about it. It definitely had like kind of a dark comedy element to it. Like, you're not sure, am I supposed to be laughing or not laughing? I loved the pacing of the movie. I loved how it's kind of slow. You're kind of leaning in because you're listening to the dialogue because it's just Michael Fassbender's narration. He's narrating throughout the entire movie what he's doing as a hitman. Of the big name directors that we've talked about this year, David Fincher's one of the big ones that people may not remember or didn't know that he made a movie. It kind of flew under the radar because it was on Netflix. He's an excellent director. He has a certain style.
The editing is clean. That's very David Fincher. The camera movements are clean. Yeah, this movie gave me some John Wick kind of vibes, but a little slower, a little bit smarter.
It's a smart action movie, spy, assassin type movie. And there's a lot of those out there. but I like it when it's in the hands of a competent director. In his hands, it's just very well crafted.
Yeah, so my top 5 is Past Lives. I mean, nobody knows this movie until it was nominated for how many? There's this childhood sweethearts, and the girl and his family is immigrating to America. 20 years later, they forgot about each other until they kind of met again, and then they remembered their long lost love. The guy visited New York for a couple of days, and in those couple of days, they have to decide whether they should be together or not. That's the whole premise.
It's not serendipity.
It's kind of like Serendipity, but this is the deeper version of Serendipity. Oh my God, the ending of this movie. Holy shit. That was probably the best.
Don't spoil it. I haven't seen it.
The best thing I love about this movie is what it does to you. It makes you think about your own life. Watching it, it's like, I remember the girl I fell in love with when I was 10. Where is she now?
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. Something everyone can identify with.
The whole theme is reconnecting with your childhood self.
He was just this kid in my head for such a long time. I think I just missed him.
Did he miss you?
Because when we grow old, we have careers, we have
responsibilities.
But deep inside, we're still that child. You're the same child, you're just more responsible.
Yeah.
Even if it's just two people talking, the stakes are so high.
Oh, well, I have to see it. I'm definitely going to see it. This is a foreign film?
This is a foreign film. It's an A24. It's directed by Celine Song. I think she's Korean. And that's the thing with A24 is that they're very good at looking for good scripts and good directors that nobody knows about, and then they give them a chance to shine.
All right, number 4 is arguably the most important movie that came out in 2023, and it's probably higher in your list. It's Sound of Freedom.
This is definitely higher on my list.
It's hard to watch because of the subject matter, but it's so powerful, and I'm glad they made it. I'm glad Jim Caviezel pushed this movie, and it made all the money that it made. In spite of all the idiots out there that are attacking, I don't know why you would attack this or come out against it. I have no idea. Whether you're Republican or Democrat, it has nothing to do with politics. The whole world should be on board with this. We should stop children from being exploited. There's no controversy about that statement.
AMC even would turn off the air condition of some theaters when this is showing so people would get out.
There was air conditioning in the lobby. There was air conditioning in the hallways. There was air conditioning in the bathrooms, not the theaters.
And when big media doesn't want you to see something, you should go watch it.
Yeah, absolutely. The movie starts with real life footage, black and white footage of actual kids trying, they're kidnapping. It's like they're showing you documentary elements in this film to prove this is not a fantasy. This is real. This is real life. This is really happening. How you can come away from that not feeling burdened or supportive of the efforts of this movie and the people behind it, I have no idea. I'm never going to watch it again. I don't think it's something I can sit through again.
It's really hard to watch.
Didn't we review Sound of Freedom?
I did a solo review, I think.
Yeah, and you talked about it in your review, how it opens with the same shot that it ends with, and it's just constructed very well as a movie. And I'm not just saying that because I agree with the message. There's a lot of movies that I like the message, and they're pushing Christian values or whatever that are terrible movies. They're just not good. This was a very well done movie. It was very well made. All of the acting was realistic. All of the elements of it came across as like a real movie. And if we're talking about movies that are important and what they mean in culture, I would put it at number 1. It's not number 1 just because I thought some of the other movies were better movies in terms of production and directing, but it's very good.